You did not wake one morning and decide to sell your soul. No one arrives at the market of the spirit so openly. The trade begins with a whisper, a subtle bargain struck in thought rather than deed. It sounds like mercy. Rest a little longer. Don't trouble yourself with the harder path. Peace is found in ease. And the mind, ever longing for still waters, nods. It does not notice the hand extending from the shadow. Jung would call it the unconscious wish to remain a child, to avoid the confrontation with one's own power. Goddard would say the same thing differently, that imagination, the creative center, has been turned outward, feeding the world instead of forming it. The soul is not taken from you. It is pawned away moment by moment for the comfort of not seeing too deeply. Convenience is the priest of this new religion. It asks for small sacrifices, attention here, intention there, until the altar of self is covered with the ashes of easy days. You call it balance. You call it taking care of yourself. But listen closely. Every time you choose ease over effort, you carve another notch in the covenant of forgetting. At first, the trade feels holy. To move without friction, to glide through hours untested. Who would call that evil? Yet even the serpent in the garden offered comfort first. The devil never shouts. He whispers, there is no need to climb. And the soul, weary of mountains, agrees. Convenience disguises itself as peace. But peace is born from order, not from escape. Order requires will. Will requires suffering. The sacred tension between what is and what could be. To flee from that tension is to flee from the forge that makes you real. In the beginning, you only wished for a smoother path. Now the path itself begins to vanish, and you walk in circles, believing motion is progress. The ancients called this enchantment. Jung named it identification with the persona, the mask that smiles while the inner man sleeps. Goddard saw it as living in the wrong state of consciousness, imagining from the outside instead of within. Every scroll of thought toward the trivial, every small refusal of the deeper call, feeds the same machine. It is not evil, it is mechanical. And the soul was never meant to be mechanical. So the trade continues. You give away moments for comfort, courage for calm, truth for belonging, and the world applauds your surrender. But in the quiet of night, something watches the transaction, a witness within, the remnant of the unbroken self, records every compromise in silence. It does not accuse, it only waits. For the day you notice the imbalance and remember what was sold. The trade once begun requires no devil to keep it running. It maintains itself. A perfect engine built from your own avoidance. Convenience builds quietly, brick by unseen brick. Each small surrender becomes a stone. Each forgotten desire, the mortar. Soon, an entire architecture rises. A palace of comfort that doubles as a cage. From a distance it gleams. It hums with safety, predictability, ease. You tell yourself this is peace. But inside, the air grows thin. The walls absorb your unspoken potential, like dust settling on unused instruments. Jung called this the collective trance. The soul choosing adaptation over individuation, trading authenticity for approval. You call it fitting in. Goddard called it living in imagination's shadow, forgetting that the world you see is only the echo of the world you believe. Convenience loves repetition. It hates the unknown, so it teaches you to repeat yourself. Same words, same thoughts, same gentle decay. The mind that once dreamed of fire now calculates comfort. The will that once commanded matter now obeys routine. You convince yourself you're free because the door is unlocked, yet you never try to open it. The cage has become familiar. Its pattern calms you. You decorate it. You call the bars boundaries, the floor stability, the ceiling contentment. Meanwhile, the true self waits outside. The part of you that would rather burn than rust. It knocks through circumstance, through boredom, through the faint ache of something missing. That ache is not depression, it is memory. Memory of the realm you came from, the place where imagination still creates reality. But the architecture of convenience has excellent insulation. It keeps the whisper out. It tells you the ache is meaningless, that your longing is impractical, that the inner voice is childish. So you build thicker walls, inventing explanations for your own captivity. I'm being realistic. I'm just tired. I'll start when things calm down. The self nods once, silently, and withdraws a little further. Not in anger, in respect for your free will. For this is the ultimate irony. The soul cannot be stolen. It can only consent to forget itself. Convenience is simply the language of that forgetting, and yet somewhere behind those walls, a pulse persists. It beats under the static, under the hum of routine, under the mask that smiles when nothing feels alive. If you stop, truly stop, you might hear it. But stopping is the one thing convenience forbids. It demands motion, distraction, occupation. It knows that silence is its undoing. So the architecture stands, beautiful, efficient, and utterly hollow. A cathedral without a god. You kneel before the altar of ease, and the echo that answers your prayers is only your own voice, bouncing off the polished walls. One night, the stillness you have avoided finds you. The machine's quiet, the day's noise dissolves, and there is nowhere left to run inside your own mind. In that hush, something ancient stirs. Not a memory, not a voice, a presence. It does not accuse. It simply asks to be known again. You remember what Jung called the self, the totality you once glimpsed in childhood dreams, the one who walked unafraid among symbols. And you remember Neville's law, that every outer world is a mirror reflecting the inner state that imagined it. Now the mirror shows you what you have built, a life so convenient that it no longer requires you. Tasks complete themselves, thoughts repeat themselves, days arrive pre-packaged. You have become a spectator of your own existence. Yet behind the glass, you see motion, a flicker of something real, like a hand pressed against the other side of the reflection. That hand is you, the you that never sold anything, only waited for recognition. The trade was never final. The contract of forgetfulness expires. The moment you remember your own authorship, convenience cannot touch that core. It can bury it, mock it, numb it, but it cannot kill it. For the soul is not a possession. It is the light that possesses you. And when you allow even a crack in the architecture, that light floods in. Slow at first, then merciless in its tenderness. You begin to see the ruins, the false altars, the golden chains, the prayers to comfort that were really confessions of fear. But you also see the beauty, the resilience of the spark, the proof that divinity survives even in neglect. Perhaps this is redemption, not forgiveness from above, but remembrance from within. The self re-enters through awareness. And awareness is born the instant you stop pretending you are asleep. You sit in the silence, feeling both terror and relief. Terror because the cage door is open. Relief because the open air still welcomes you. Outside, the world continues its lullaby of convenience. Inside, a single truth hums like a tuning fork. Ease is not peace. Peace requires presence. Presence demands will, and will, true will, is love disciplined by purpose. You rise slowly. The chains that once felt solid are smoke. They swirl around your feet, then vanish into the dawn. You do not rush to rebuild. You simply breathe, and the breath feels like a vow. Somewhere beyond language, you hear the question that ends all others. When the world offers comfort for the price of your becoming, will you take the bargain again?